divine light that holds the divine light for all humanity. When you consider your purpose, do you allow yourself to be the holder of the light for humanity? How do you hold the light for humanity except through your intention that you want to bring only peace and joy and light to everyone? The ego would say, well, how do I get my needs met if all I'm doing is offering light? And that's where the exquisite beauty of God's creation is so apparent. Because as you offer light, as you offer peace, as you offer joy, and you have no opinions about anything, really, nothing, you expand from all the light that you offer. Why is it that someone who is contracted and defended and rigid and fearful, that they don't seem to be able to heal? It isn't that they can't heal. It's that they haven't made the connection that to stay in that defended place is their suffering, and that the answer, the key, the doorway to love is to offer love. The ego would say, wait just a minute. I demand that love because I have been bereft. I need that love first. I need the blessings and the love to come to me in my contracted space, and then I'll consider whether I give it out or not. That upside downness of the ego that convinces beloveds that to get is righteous. To get is normal. And the world suffers so deeply from that contracted self-absorbed place. The ego has made its own version of that offering of love, but it doesn't actually have any love. But it's what's known as codependency. The codependency within the world is, I will portray myself as giving. I will portray myself as loving. I will portray myself as self-sacrificing even. But all the while, underneath, the ego says, what am I getting? I'm keeping score. Am I getting? Is it working? Because that's the only purpose for it, is to try to get, because of the deep belief that you are not whole and complete. But the way of spirit is the way of faith. It says, I am taking this leap of faith and I am offering love. I'm extending peace. I'm extending kindness, gentleness, and that in of itself creates love within. It's like having your own hand pump, like from a well, that as you pump whatever love that you have, the peace that you have, and you're willing to extend blessings, you find yourself expanding. Expanding because you have eliminated and you have refused the judgment, the grievances, the contraction that the ego depends upon. And in that expansion of offering love, you find yourself shifting and changing out of the bitterness, the hatred, the anger, the resentment, counting, grievances. Those bitter places have been the hell that humanity has made for itself. What's in it for me? What's in it for me is the ego's anthem. And the pain that occurs is because no matter how much you offer through trying to get, you will always feel betrayed. We've all had the statement in our mind, I try, I try, I try, and it's never enough. It's never recognized how much I want to give. And the need and the belief that there is a need to get always ends in a sense of betrayal. Because the ego way of giving to get has absolutely no truth and no value. It is such a leap of faith to offer love, to offer blessings without the intention of getting. And it continues to activate within the heart, and cleansing the mind activates the awareness that the actual source of love is coming from God through your heart and offered to humanity. Many times it's thought that that is only a practice that has to do with words, but it doesn't begin with words. It begins with perceptions, thoughts, intention. And the intention is truly called to be clear within. What is it that I'm here for? What is the purpose of this moment but to offer love? And what is my intention? It is a powerful purpose. It is a powerful connection. It is the way of healing. It is how you participate in your own healing by recognizing that you are here to learn to love. And how can we learn to love except through actually extending that love? Now, the ego would like to say, I don't have enough to give. The absence of judgment, and that your intention is to bless. Your intention is to give the love that is, maybe you think, all that you have, and you want to keep it safe, but instead you extend it. And you find that as you extend that love, you don't lose that love. It actually multiplies, it expands within you, and you are blessed as you are blessing. But it can't be for the purpose of receiving a blessing. It has to be for the extension of love. But what a beautiful recognition of the light that you are. The light that is here to serve all of humanity. The only element that seems to be so resistant is the ego's defense that says, I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want to be vulnerable. I want to stay in control of everything, so I need to stay here. But the secret is that as you offer love, as you offer non-judgment, blessings, that aspect of the ego starts to fade. Because you're no longer concerned about protection. And the heart responds. The heart responds every time with a new extension, a deeper expansion. This is why everyone is and becomes the savior, because as you hear the call for love and you meet it with love, not with the empathy of the world, as you extend that love, your awareness is expanding also of your gift to serve. And everything becomes a blessing. Don't be afraid of extending that love. It's the way home in its perfection. And it's all orchestrated by the divine. You're never alone in extending that love. Your guides are with you. Angels are with you in their happiness as they witness the healing of 2 or 3 or 5 beloveds, 10, 20, 100. And your kindness, your gentleness begins to develop even deeper. And all of your guides will be saying, that's it. Just keep offering that love. And your own healing is occurring the whole time. To pray and ask for that help, to be shown how to extend love, the help will be given. To clear the mind of its distortions, help will be given. To be freed from the rules and the laws that you have made on your own, it will be healed and let go. And the help is given. Imagine that you developed a system of stepping into empathy within the world, and you began this early on, because in the world the belief of empathy is that it's love, and it has no relationship to love at all. It affirms pain and suffering. It affirms separation. And the true empathy is, I will not join you in the belief of that pain and suffering. I am holding for you and with you the love of God that is the truth of yourself. Imagine that when the beloved known as Jesus would have walked the earth and he would have said, oh yeah, you're all suffering. I know that suffering. Oh, you're going to see me suffering too. I'm going to get up on that cross and I'm going to be suffering just like you. And we're all in this together. I know that. I know that pain, and I'm empathizing with you. There would have been no healing. There would have been no realization that there was no death. He took the belief in suffering and he turned it into the light. He said, you are not this suffering. You are not this pain. You are not this belief in separation. You are not your fears. You are love. And love is holding you in a deeper truth. The courage of love. When beloveds aren't ready to hear those words, then you hold it in your heart for them. And you stay, in a way, silent. Instead of saying those words, you You sit with them in compassion, with comfort. Love is calling you to the light that you truly are. Love is calling you to embrace the blessings that you can offer in every moment. And in this moment, the willingness to accept the shift out of the empathy of the world into the true empathy of perfection, of light, of love. It's all there waiting to be embraced and lived as it testifies to your own healing, to your own truth, and it's shared. And for this, as the life force of God, we affirm and we pray for constant help, for courage, for strength, to not join in what is so familiar from the past. Oh, my Father, give me strength, give me courage on this road, to be a child of yours on earth and tread the path the Master showed. Oh, my Mother, help me love, give me comfort to be aware, to obey these sacred teachings. It was your Son who showed the way. Oh, my Master, your compassion can see through this pain, for it was you who came to earth to release us from our chains. Oh, my Father, I am yours. Give me comfort to be aware. Send your angels here to guide me on this sacred path of the sun. Oh, my Father and my Mother, who rule a world of love, send your angels to receive me through the gateway of pure love. Give me strength, give me courage, because without that, we rely on the ego for the sameness, for the past. And all of love is calling. I ask for comfort. I ask for comfort from the kings, from the heavens, the forest, and the sea, and I ask for comfort from the queens to come and illuminate me into the truth. I ask for comfort from the princes, from the heavens, the forest, and the sea, and I ask for comfort from the princesses to come and illuminate me. I ask for comfort from the angels, from the heavens, the forest, and the sea. I ask for comfort from the saints to come and illuminate me. Eu peço conforto às reis do céu, da floresta, do mar. Peço conforto às rainhas para nos iluminar. Eu peço conforto às príncipes do céu, da floresta, do mar. Peço conforto às princesas para nos iluminar. Eu peço conforto aos anjos do céu, da floresta, do mar. Peço conforto a santos para nos iluminar. I ask for comfort. And as I ask for comfort, I must offer comfort. I must offer comfort with truth. I must offer courage and encouragement, because that is the comfort. I must learn the truth of comfort. And I must ask to be illuminated into the truth. And that prayer is always answered, always answered. Energy in sounds. As many times as a parrot might say any number of things, will that make them true for the bird? So it is with many utterances about spiritual matters from people. They just may never occur except in make-believe, which probably won't pay the rent. Harness speech. Let it become a windmill that can grind a harvest. Then there is a pristine energy in sounds that come from certain depths that can help split the atom. The power of the sound of truth. If you can find the help, they can be controlled perfectly, which would mean your words cease to harm and always uplift, or at least comfort. With the world so ripe for help, this is what our relationship is at times all about. Me increasing your power so that you can bake a special wheat that can feed the various longings a refined heart will discover. An energy in sound. It isn't, words aren't thought about as energy, but they truly are. Every word that is spoken comes from the mind, and there is a clear choice of what is going to come from the mouth through what has been accepted in the mind. If you look at someone with a broken leg and you want to commiserate about their broken leg, if you want to compare notes about broken bones, that decision has come from the past that really believes that that is helpful, that that is empathy, and that it means that your heart is open. But it isn't, because that place says, I understand and agree with you that pain and suffering is real. And I understand and I agree with you that I have suffered just like you. And it offers to the beloved a reaffirmation that suffering is normal, that it is what the world is all about. And yet, the blessing and the truth of God's love is right there for you to offer. The ego would like you to think that the way of love would be to say, don't be a baby. You're not really suffering. It doesn't really exist. That would be the ego's version of helpfulness. But it's another place. It's a place that holds the compassion of love for the suffering, for the fear, but brings strength, brings your open heart to every beloved that is believing in suffering. You're bringing the strength of another way. You're bringing the strength of love. It may sound like, I'm with you, and I'm holding this with you, that this is not the truth of you. I'm with you. And we'll find the strength together to pass through this belief of this suffering. Imagine if you are caught in something that is painful for you, that comes from the past, and you're kind of swimming in it. There is this beautiful place that says, it's not the truth of you, but we'll be right here holding a deeper strength so that you can come out the other side of this. Or you can trade war stories. Sometimes the compassion becomes for the beloveds that are learning the truth. The compassion becomes, this suffering has been known because it's what the world holds. But you're choosing to be lifted. You're choosing to be shown another way. And that's the blessing of those beloveds who have chosen the way of love, that they can find the strength in, this need not be. This isn't God's will. It's not about shame or embarrassment because you're in it, but that you hold in the horizon that this need not be. That through prayer, through intention, through help, through the calling for truth, that there will be a resolution to all the belief of suffering within everyone's life. And it is that light that you bring. As many times as a parent might say any number of things, will that make them true for the bird? The belief in magic is one of the stumbling blocks of healing. The belief if that you say a prayer over and over and over again, but you're not really connecting with it, but you're just saying the words. And you want the words to become magic, rescue in some way. But what the prayer is really about is the deep connection that you can make in that moment with the divine energy of Blessed Mother, all the beings of love, that you want to find that doorway of truth, that you want the truth to be revealed so that you can embrace it, so that you can see it as clearly as possible and choose that in any moment. That love is always supplying a doorway for you. There is a teaching that says, minds and hearts can only join in truth. In illusion, no two can share the same intent. Now that really can be a learning that is so helpful, because if your intention is to connect, you can't connect in illusion. You can't have the same intent. You can't have the same intention, because the ego's intentions are all over the place. But in love, minds and hearts can join in truth. That's where the connection is really felt, seen, and experienced. And how important it is to realize that it is with that meeting of minds and hearts. True empathy is one of those elements that joins minds and hearts. When you are both in the agreement that suffering is not God's will for anyone, you've joined with your mind and your heart, and you're holding truth and love together. Quietly, silently, but holding it together. And you feel that connection. You feel the union of that truth. One of the elements that is the most painful in the world of illusion is that constant feeling of being separate, of being alone, of being on your own. And the ego's answer is to get something from somebody else so that you won't feel alone. And the answer from love is to open your heart and realize that you are alone because you are in a false identity, that you're not allowing yourself to open the heart and the mind to join with that truth of love with others. And that even if you're bringing love to those who aren't aware of love, you feel the connection. You don't feel the connection if you join them in being separate in the illusion, but you do if you bring love to the connection of the heart. And what a beautiful, beautiful way of recognizing your divine purpose. When beloveds come for healing, when they come to the realization that there must be another way and that they're searching for another way, it's very self-motivated. And that self-motivation can be a place that we get caught in, because at some point we have to start extending love. And at the same time, still self-inquiring within. But the offering of love becomes as essential as the inquiry within. And in truth, most discover that the spiritual journey is at the center of life itself. That it becomes the center of everything. It isn't because those who are called spiritually are purposely making it the center of their life. Some may, but most find themselves that if it isn't at the center of your life, it's very difficult to enter into it if it's an aside. And many beloveds try to split their world for a while, saying, well, I'm still going to have this normal life that I made out of my ego, and I'm going to placate that, and I'm going to focus on that, and then I'm going to have a spiritual life that is another element that I keep separate. It doesn't work, but many try to make that bargain in splitting. But it becomes confusing, it becomes even painful, because the heart isn't being nurtured and it isn't being surrendered into the hands of God. So how can you reconcile being split when almost every teaching in some way says, I am in need of only the truth. I must have the truth as my center of being. And then you find it's more and more difficult to try to have a separate identity. Thank God it doesn't work, because it pulls you so deeply into the spiritual journey that you finally realize, oh, this is what this life is all about. The only purpose of being incarnated in a body is because you believe you're separate from God. And that incarnation says, I'm here to remember. I'm here to unlearn what I learned being incarnated and learn the truth of eternal life. Not learn the truth like it's a book that you're learning, but becoming and melting into that truth. I am in need of only the truth. A beloved sent me a quote from a Hafiz poem in a message, and it was the one that has been used so often because it speaks so fervently. I don't want to touch anything in this world without recognizing the truth of my beloved within that. I don't want to touch anything without recognizing the beloved that is within anything that I touch. That is a place of such joy. It is a place of saying, this is my intention. This is all that I want. I want to, in every moment, recognize and revel in the truth of love. Is it too big of a prayer? No. Is it too big of a declaration? No. It's honest. It's speaking about truth. Because if you don't want to touch anything that does not reflect the truth of the divine, and that you feel and you connect with everything being that love, that light, then you're bereft. Because you're living in a world that you believe is the same life that you led in other lifetimes and in the past. But to leave the past behind, to leave the past in God's hands, is to only want to see the truth of every beloved and every object as the ultimate creation of God. Because then you're connected. And you're in joy. And you're at peace. Because that's your natural state. The belief of sacrifice within the world is the ruse that hides behind the closet door and whispers while you think that you're alone, saying, you have to sacrifice everything. You're going to end up with nothing. This lie, if you pull the door back, you'll see it. It's the dark pain that's been carried in the suitcases that you've carried through all incarnations. There is no sacrifice in love. There is no sacrifice in truth. The sacrifice belongs to the illusion. And it always sacrifices because the illusion is based on scarcity. In its simplest way of seeing it, it's like a pie that has 6 pieces and you have 8 hungry bellies. And everyone is saying, oh my God, I'm going to be the one without. And the way of love, the way of abundance realizes that when my beloved receives that piece of pie, I receive that piece of pie because that beloved is me. When your heart becomes generous and open and doesn't fear not having enough or not being worth enough or not being seen enough or not being recognized enough, which is the same scarcity as the pie. The belief in scarcity is running, and it's so painful. And it isn't true. Because you have nothing to prove, and either does anyone else. There is no limit on the abundance of love. And it's truly true that when you celebrate the abundance of everything and you are refusing to believe that someone else is going to get something that you're not going to get, you refuse that, You are healing humanity to open to the abundance of God's love. I've said this many times, but I was shown that when I was in healing, one of my beliefs was that I had to climb over the backs of others to get to God first in order that there would be room for me. This is hatred. I was in hatred. I was in fear, hatred. They were all my enemies. They were all my combatants for the space of God's love. Thank God that wasn't the main purpose of my healing. But when I was shown that, there was a deep forgiveness that I had to embrace, to forgive myself for believing and hating anyone and believing that I had to compete for the grace of God. And that's the same fear that is in the pie. It's the same fear that shows up in all the different ways of the belief of scarcity, the belief that there isn't enough. Because it is a belief within the illusion. Absolutely. It's one of the main ingredients of the illusion. There isn't enough. This is how all wars start, for power, to grab, and to convince yourself, the mind of the ego that says, those others don't deserve to have abundance. They're different, they're less. I am elevated. In the illusion of identity, believing that a distortion of worth. How can there be a distortion of worth when everything is the complete perfection of God? Perfect innocence, wholeness, eternal light of God. Who is left out of that? Absolutely no one. Nothing is left out. And all of this separation by identity keeps that game going. All of the identity that says, oh yes, and they're this, and they're this, and this is this, and it's all made up. Strip it away. And all that you have is the light of God. Where one religion says, no, we have the answer. The others, no. They need to go back to the drawing board. And in truth, no one knows what someone needs to walk through to find the way of love. So love is constantly affirming, please, 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 let go of your judgments. This is coming from the other side. Please let go of your judgments. You are stabbing yourself every time you have a judgment. Every time that you have an opinion, it's cruel. It's not just cruel in the world, it's cruel to your heart because you're not able to love and have judgment at the same time. It's not possible. You're choosing the master of pain and suffering. So love is constantly calling you back to love, to expansion, to the recognition that there's nothing to hold of anyone, of any identity. And that's where all the love is. At that pure place of Spirit's light, that you recognize the Christ within everyone. Whether they are aware of it or not, whether they are lost temporarily in their illusion, you're holding for them the truth. Now, you can't hold the truth for them and empathize with their identity. It's just not possible to serve two masters. Compassion and empathy are not the same. Compassion holds a space of love while someone is in the belief of suffering, while someone is in the belief of being at war, and belief in the body, belief that they're so fearful of dying, holding for them the deeper truth of that love, that they cannot die, and that they will never be separate from you. What a powerful, powerful journey of love in your own healing, that you are blessing everyone with your own healing. And where do the words of love come from? They're not coming, you're not conjuring them up. You're not trying to write a script so that you have a script in your pocket that you can pull out for everybody and repeat something. That's the parrot that just repeats words. No, this is your heart speaking. And that, as you develop your heart opening to offer that love, and sometimes love says, you're turning the wrong direction. Sometimes love says, what you're believing isn't helping you. Let's look at it differently. Let's bring another option into this. And you realize that's your heart and the spirit of love that is combined with your heart that is offering words of healing. And you're blessed by it too. You're blessed just as deeply as everyone that you offer that love to. Harness the speech and let it become a windmill that can grind a harvest. Grind a harvest. Harness your speech so that it has purpose, so that it has an intention of love. When you're in fear, the words are fearful. The words are abrupt. The words are wanting to run away. Everybody's felt that. Someone is in need of help and you want to run the other way, or you just want it to stop so that you just say whatever. But it's time to step out of that fear and refuse the fear and bring love, to stay and offer love. How can I serve you? What would be most helpful for you? those words wash over a beloved with comfort. How can I help you? How can I help you see that you're not a victim? How can I help you see that you're not at the effect of the outside beliefs of limitation? You may not say those words, but when you say, how can I serve you? It opens a door. And it brings with it all the divine beings that want to serve that beloved also. And when you're thinking about any situation within the world, you have the opportunity also to bring love. It's easy to worry about it. That's old and familiar for sure. But you're being called to a higher purpose. You're being called to hold for every beloved in the world that they are the light of God. And as you hold it, it expands. You have that much power. The power of your intention, the power of your thoughts is the power that can move mountains. But it's either working for the ego or it's in service of love. And it's always that choice. And that choice becomes your own healing. When I was in the journey of healing, when I lived in community, and every time the phone would ring, whoever was on the other end, which was all my mind making up my own battleground, everyone that called would say, they would ask for somebody else. And they would go down the list, and then it was like I was the last choice, and they'd say, isn't there anybody there? And I would react to that every time. I would react out of pain and suffering from the past, of the belief that I was not enough, that I was somehow not proving my worth enough. And a beloved friend came over who was in the same spiritual teachings. And I was laying on the sofa and suffering in my bereft idea that I was rejected over and over and over again and never enough. And he said, those phone calls are going to change when you change your mind. Those phone calls are going to become a deeper truth when you are no longer holding that you believe that you're being rejected, that you're being left out. He was straight, and I was so grateful because I got it. I got the blessing in that moment, like opened up, and I could see what I had been battling with, which was old, which was familiar, which was my way of saying I'm less. And he brought that truth in that moment. And that blessing is still with me because he stepped into truth for me. And he offered a healing. Doesn't always happen that quickly, but it can. And it also expands the gratitude that God would send that beloved into the house in the moment to be truthful with me, to bring that truth to me with love. There was no, why don't you get your act together? There was no irritation. There was no impatience with me at all. He was present. He was loving. He was kind. And he still brought the truth. And the Holy Spirit opened it up, and I could see it. And it affected everything. It wasn't just the phone calls. It was seeing this game that I played all the time of testing against others to see if I was being seen. I want to be seen. What did that mean? I want to be seen. I wasn't seeing the truth of the light within everyone. And I wasn't seeing and accepting that I was carrying the light of God's love. That was what I needed to see, was that I was, by God's order, the innocent light of love. I must love begins here, begins in the heart, the center of your being. I must love the truth of God's creation that's within. And I must offer that love and see that light within everyone and affirm that light for everyone. With the world so ripe for help, this is what our relationship is about. Me increasing your power so that you can bake a special wheat and can feed the various longings a refined heart can know. You are that light. You are that love. And the power is the choice of every moment. And to realize that in the transformation, we don't know how to express that light. We have to be available to be taught how to express that light, how to bring comfort. We don't use the old ways of the ego and then just change the words. We affirm the energy of comfort, the energy of gentleness, the energy of kindness, the energy of an embrace, and the compassion. We ask to be taught how to enter into the vibration of compassion. Compassion isn't known in the ego world, but it's a learning that is necessary and has to be part of the healing, because we don't know when we're in that state. We don't know how to love. And as the hymn says, Mother, oh my mother, please come here, please, and teach this child of yours who doesn't yet know how to love. Let me surrender everything I thought I knew about what love was, because it was all fabricated in the getting and in the winning and in the proving. There wasn't any love there. It was just the name. But let me open to the pure, true love that is the truth within. And let me see that love in everything and in everyone, because That's what we are here to learn. That's our schoolroom, learning to love in the simplest ways, beginning here, beginning this moment, affirming generosity, affirming the generous heart of compassion. The truth of love is here now. There's nothing to control, there's nothing to know. Love provides it all. Love teaches everything.